Now we're going to talk about scenes. A scene will allow you to set up multiple lists for allowing and blocking websites. To create a scene, click on Scenes and notice that you have two different lists. One is for the allowed websites, one is for the blocked websites. We'll start with creating a blocked website list. So for here, you have to give it a name. So we're going to call this one YouTube and Sports. And for the description, block YouTube and major sports sites. You can select the color. You may want to, especially if you're going to have multiple lists. Once you set that, you click next, and we're going to start looking for sites. So we're going to say, first we'll start with YouTube. We'll hit search and we'll click add. Next, I'll type in sports. And notice that sports are already coming up here. So here's CBS, Fox Sports, we'll pick ESPN. All right. So this allows you to just search for the category and not have to type in the exact name. You could also check here and it will just select every single one of them and add all of them into your list. Once you've set up your websites, now you just click save. Notice now that you have a category here that says YouTube and sports. Now let's say I want to just block YouTube. I can make another one and call it YouTube only. Only block YouTube. I'll set the item color, make it a little bit more distinct, and now I'll click next. So for here, I can just type in my one website, YouTube, and add that site. Save it. Now I have two blocked scenes. To go back to my class, I can actually click right at the top here where it says My Class. Now my student doesn't have any scenes applied. So if I want to apply a scene, I can click Apply a Scene, and now I can select my student. Now, again, if you have a group of students, you can check all of them, or you can just check the ones that you want to apply the scene to. So for here, I'm going to click Choose a Scene, and notice no scene means it's wide open. Now, if I select YouTube and Sports, I click it, and then I select Apply Scene. Now, if my student tries to go to a website, we'll try youtube.com, you'll notice that there is a block screen there. So now my student cannot get to YouTube. Now, if the student opens another tab, let's say ESPN, you'll notice now that that website is blocked. So now the student has two websites open, and they're both blocked. Now I can go and say, close this tab, because you're not supposed to be going there anyway, and close another tab here. And now as the teacher, I can get the student back on task if I want to. So if the student's supposed to be on Schoology, this is just an example, Schoology opens. If I want to remove the scene, now I can close this window and I can select in this box to disable the scene. Now my student has no scene applied. So if I open a window, and now I try to go back to ESPN. Now if I want to change the scene, I can click here and I can now select YouTube only. So now my student can still get out to sports websites if I go to MLB.com. But if I try to go to YouTube, and there's your block notice. So here, now again, if I want to disable it, I can click disable, and now it is disabled. we will create an allowable list. So if you click on scenes, you'll notice that you have an allowed websites list. Allowed websites is useful if you want to isolate students to only using certain websites. This could be very useful if you're doing something like an assessment in Schoology. Schoology does not have a lockdown browser, but you can use the allowed website list to actually create a lockdown browser. The way you would do this is you would click Create List, and we can call this Schoology Assessment. And we'll just say Lockdown to Schoology. Again, want to pick a color, and then click Next. Now here we're going to add two different websites. One is our direct Schoology link, and the other one is for accounts.google.com because the students use Google to connect to Schoology. If you don't add Google, you will not be able to sign in. The student will not be able to sign in to Schoology. So in this one, we're going to actually type in prepchs.schoology.com. And then when you click search, you will notice that we have our direct login to Schoology right here. So you're going to click add. And next, we're going to add accounts.google.com. When you click search, that will come up in the list, accounts.google.com. That's the sign in. And now you click add. Now, what will happen here is when the student goes to launch Schoology, Google will open up so that they can sign in, and then they'll only be able to use Schoology in their web browser. So we're going to click Save. And now notice I've added another scene to my list. So I will go back to class now, select my student, and then click Apply a Scene. Here I will select, now notice it breaks it up. There's the Enable Allowed list, and then there's the Enable Block list. So we're going to select the Allowed now, which is Schoology Assessment, and then click Apply Scene. So to test this, first, actually you'll see it automatically detects on that computer that YouTube is no longer allowed. YouTube was one of the active windows and it automatically blocked it. So if I type in apple.com, it is blocked. But if I click on my bookmarks and select Schoology, Schoology should automatically log in because the student is already logged into Google. This method will allow you to create an assessment where the student is locked down to Schoology.